again. Okay. Yes, I am just sitting here making video after video in one day. And it's really warm here today, so that's why this is a little bit lighter and I'm a little hot. But at least we're not outside like the first one and I've got bugs all over me. It's an improvement. Okay, so now we are properly into our interview preparation. We know when our interview is, we know who is going to interview us, and we know whether we have to prepare a presentation or not. Great. Now we need to make a plan. So the reason you need to make a plan is because you're going to have a different amount of time for every interview you go for. And also you're going to have a different level of preparation. So for example, if you are pivoting and you're moving to a different kind of job, then you're going to need a lot more time to prepare and find out what this kind of job interview is like than if you were doing a job like I was looking for volunteer management work. I had already done a bunch of volunteer management jobs. So this was way easier for me to prepare. I knew what to expect. I knew what kind of questions they were going to ask. I knew what kind of charities I was working for. So I already had done a lot of the previous work. As I said, start with your folder. I had that folder full of previous jobs that I had applied for, previous jobs that I had looked at the job description and thought about what kind of questions. So I'd already been doing a lot of preparation before I ever was applying for a job. Okay, so first question, how much time do you have before your interview? Second question, what's the level of this interview? So as I said in the previous video, if you have 3 weeks, then you can spread out your plan. What is more important when you research, all of that kind of stuff. If you have 3 days, 3 days is a challenge. You want at least a week. I would say if they're trying to push you to go within 3 days, do your best to see if you can pick another day or go a little bit later or something, because 3 days is not enough time. But the other thing I mentioned last time is the level. Are you having a first level interview with a lower level employee, maybe in the HR department, just to decide, are you suitable to go forward to the next round? That's a lot less stress and a lot less research than if you're going for an interview with the CEO or if you're going for an interview with the person who's going to be your direct line manager. So both of those things are important to figure out how are you going to plan for what comes next. So let's say we have 2 weeks. Pretty common, a week to 2 weeks. If you don't have to do a presentation, great. You can spend all of your time learning about the company, learning about the job, learning about the kind of department you're working in, what's normal for them, what sort of stuff. And maybe, again, if you're pivoting to a different kind of department or something, you can be learning generally more about that role as well. If you have to do a presentation, then I would give yourself at least a week to prepare your presentation. It's not going to be the only thing you're doing in that week, but you need that time, because if you're doing a presentation, first of all, you need to figure out, how am I going to answer the question? Then you need to create your slides so that you have some pretty pictures or key points or statistics or whatever to really back up the point that you're making. And then you need practice time. There is no point in you making a beautiful presentation and then you going and standing in there without ever having practiced it even once. You will mess it up. Trust me, you are going to be so nervous. It's a disaster. No, don't do it. It's a terrible idea. Prepare, because if you prepare yourself, if you practice your presentation, your nerves will be lower. You'll be able to think better. You'll be able to speak better. You will do a better job. And you're more likely to get the job. So give yourself at least a week. And if you're doing a presentation, I would start at the first thing. I would start looking at your presentation. How am I going to answer this question? I'm not saying you have to write it on the first day. What I'm saying is you have to start thinking about it on the first day. Start wandering around your house, whatever you're doing, thinking, how can I answer this question? What is the key point that I need to get across? What is the important information? Start taking notes. keep a notebook going of what sort of stuff's going to be important to you to mention in this presentation. So that when it comes to a week before and you're ready to get that stuff down, you already have a really good idea of what you want to say, how you want to say it, what are the key statistics, is there any images that are going to be really relevant to this. So, research. Research is really your weapon in this case. Everybody else out there is going to do their own research. In my experience, what I've been told by various different people is that a lot of times people don't do any research. So if you've done research at all, you're already ahead of the game. Research is good. But I would say you really want to double down on your research. You want to do as much as you can. Because what we're doing with each step that we're taking along this path, we are building your confidence. That's the key point here. We are giving you information and knowledge that is going to build your confidence so that when you get into that office room, wherever it is you're going for your interview, you already know everything. You know everything. You're confident in everything you know. So even though you're still going to have your interview day nerves, they're not going to be nearly as bad and they're not going to mess you up because you are confident in yourself that you have done everything you can to be successful. It's much easier to let go of an unsuccessful interview if you feel confident that you did everything you could to prepare. It's way worse. You go for your dream job and you come out of it and think, I should have started researching 2 days ago. Or I wish I hadn't spent all that time watching TV and procrastinating because I would have known more. I would have been more confident. I wouldn't have messed up that thing. I wouldn't have forgotten this other thing. So what we're doing is setting you up for success. This is good. So things you might want to research. We talked earlier about company research. Do everything you can to figure out about this company. It might, depending on the sector, also be relevant to know about your company's competitors. And if department-wise, there's projects that maybe competitors are going for and you might need to be involved in. So background information. Interviewer research. Who is interviewing you? Where are they in the company? How important are they? What are they doing? What is their thing that they're focusing on? And how are they going to be related to you when you get into that job? That's, in a way, I think it's really important to think of an interview as not just a one-way thing. It's not actually just about you telling them how great you are. You want to get into a situation where they are also telling you how great they are. You want to get into a situation where you're asking them questions, we'll come to that later, so that you can find out, do I actually want to work here? It may seem like a dream job in the beginning. I've had that. It seems like an amazing job. And then when you get in there, you're like, they didn't tell me that during the interview. So think of it as you're giving them a chance to employ you. And how willing are they to work for that? And what can they tell you about how great it is to work there? So when you do your research about that person, you're wanting to find out, what are they good at? What are they working on? What is their team saying about them? You don't have to know everything. The more you know, the more prepared you are. We're going to come on to this in a little bit later in another video, but question preparation, relevant vocabulary that might be used in the interview or used in the sector. That might be long terms, it might be programs that you're using, it might be just general specific vocabulary, business vocabulary. It's good to know. You're going to do some interview practice. We'll come on to that later as well. You need to write your presentation. You need to prepare and practice your presentation, and you need to plan for the interview day. Do you need a map? How much time is it going to take you? Are you taking an Uber? Are you taking a train? Are the trains on strike that day? Everything. Is it going to be raining? Like the day before, you need to double check. Is it going to be raining? Do you need an umbrella? Is it a big coat job? What is the situation? Okay. Remember everything you can to set yourself up for success. Okay. Let's stop there. That went on for ages. Okay. See you in the next one. Bye.